Ooh. Welcome to Taboo Chronicles. I got confused there. Taboo Chronicles tonight. We are so happy to have you. We're so happy. I'm Roberta the Tool Lady. We're happy to have everybody that's listening to us, our people that follow our page. And we're just so happy tonight to have everyone here. I have a wonderful guest. We're going to be talking about motherhood. Mother's Day is coming up. Uh, and so we're going to just be talking about some things that are around motherhood, some things that come with that. And I have a wonderful guest named Fiona, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself to you.
Hi everyone. Good night to all the listeners. My name is Fiona Salmon, and I am the author of It Will Belong But Not Forever. I grew up in a small town in Spurtree, Manchester, in Jamaica, and I migrated here to the US over 10 years ago. I went to Monroe College where I studied business administration with a minor in marketing. So that's just a little bit about myself for now.
All right. All right. Well, before we get started, let's go ahead and check in. Let's have our mood check in. What is your mood tonight, Fiona?
Wow, calm, stillness.
Okay.
Yes, a sense of
Okay.
stillness. I keep for this year, reminded myself to be still and allow God to lead and listen to that voice. So stillness.
I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
it. I love it. Well, for me, it wasn't any stillness, but just a little anxiety tonight. Because like you were having some situations. I had another lady that's coming on, and then just I was going to be with the task of coming on myself, so I was getting ready mentally to do that. so, so, so some of that is still like coming down now, but I love that. I love that calmness.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to incorporate more of that within my day.
That's right. That's right.
Right, right. Because all things can work.
Uh, Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you go again, please?
Okay, I said because all things do work out.
That's right.
Everything works out. Sometimes we get a little bit, kind of razzled dazzled here and
Mhm.
there, and we get the feeling like, okay, it's not gonna work out, but it works out in the end. So
That's
everything does come together.
that's right. That's right. That's
Right.
right. And as my book said, it will belong, but not forever. So everything has a season and it also has an end for sure.
All right. That's right. That's right. Now, before we go forward, I just wanted to ask you, where do you stand at? And I always just pick one topic that's general. Where do you stand at with mothers who don't care for their children?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question, actually, because there is actually multiple flip side to that, actually.
Hmm.
I'm going to speak from my personal view and then I'll shift to mothers that don't care for their children. So, a lot of things might happen. And in my case, my son was taken from me when he was 5 years old. And I went through the court system. And at the time, the judge says that I was not fit to be a mother at that time. So the judge gave 100% custody to my child's father. Now, as I said, if you read my book, you'll see the backstory and everything. But fast forward, even though that opportunity was taken away from me, I still show up directly and indirectly. While some parents might just take a back seat and said, okay, let me just wait until that child is 18 or 21 where they can make their own decisions. But as a parent, you have to keep showing up even when you think that your presence is not needed. You have to show up and show out, no matter what the circumstances is. Somebody can label you unfit or whatever it is. As I said, there are multiple sides to it. They might be going through a rough patch in their lives and just need that balance, and that balance would include that somebody else taking care of their child, but that doesn't mean that you must not show up and show out.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. And to be honest, I didn't mean to throw out one that was so close to you.
No,
It's
no, no, that's fine. That's
just to
that's
be,
fine.
because it's, because that sounds like that is pretty traumatizing.
Oh
That was a
yes.
that was a
Oh,
traumatizing.
definitely, Roberta. It was definitely traumatizing. I had to go through therapy. Even now, I'm still doing therapy. I'm still working on myself. I'm still working on my relationship with my son. But as a parent, that's what you have to do. Make that sacrifice, whether emotional sacrifice, putting your emotions aside, whether it's to get counseling, healing, whatever it is that you have to get, definitely. But it's okay. That question is definitely okay. And there's somebody out there that needs to hear it from someone who has been there and done
Right.
that.
Right. Absolutely. Now, and I'll tell you what, because really, just coming from my experience, because I've worked with parents, and with the system, uh,
Right.
and it's ironic. I just got off of the phone with my niece, and that's what she wanted to talk to too about too.
Oh,
This the corruption of it and the issues that it
yes.
caused within the family, rather than helping a family, it really hurts worse,
Here's, yeah.
right? Because it tears everybody apart. The
Mhm.
accountability piece is somewhat missing, and it's a system. So we know that systems are what all going to be broken.
That's right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Um, so like for my side, I just realized that some people, some parents, some mothers are really not meant to be mothers.
That's right.
And so oftentimes, I have to remind people, like especially people who are trying to figure out, like, when a parent cannot show up, a mother cannot show up for their child, they'll say, well, your child needs you. But the
Mm.
truth is, that's the truth. But the truth is that parent cannot show up because that parent really don't have that core inside. It takes a parent to have that desire and that drive. But some parents don't. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, some parents don't. I mean, that's what I've seen. Some parents really don't. Um, so, and it sounds like to me you're one of the parents that do.
Definitely.
And that,
Definitely.
okay. And how old is your son now?
So my son will be 21 next month. So
Okay.
he's grown now. And I'm not gonna say that I agree with you 100% because as I'm talking from experience that as a mother, once you lay eyes on your child for that first time, that's an instant bond that
Mm-hmm.
nobody can ever take away from you. And yes, there are a lot of parents out there, they might be going through a lot themselves. And maybe as what you mentioned, they might not be ready for motherhood. But this is what I will do if I was, say, in their position, is to allow someone else to step in who can handle that mother would, who can be there. You make an arrangement, you make a agreement to say that once I'm ready, my child will be available to me. And yes, go get the help that you need. It's okay to say that you're not okay. And it's okay to get back on track. And it's okay to rebuild that relationship, but never lose touch.
Okay.
Keep in touch with your child.
Yes, yes. Now, so and I agree with you with that. But and I think too, it goes two ways. So that
Mm,
child always wants that relationship, even if that parent or parents. So this not mom, but dad too. They always
right.
have that yearning to be, have some type, because that's their identity.
That's
Uh,
right.
and so I agree with that to still have some type of connection, because it's what we call it open, because we do have open adoptions.
Correct. Correct.
But then we do, yeah, yeah, but we do have, when they're in our system here in America. I don't know where your son was allocated to your, his father at, but here in America, was it here in America?
No, it
Okay.
happened in Jamaica. So I'm from Jamaica, so it happened in Jamaica. And I just want to
Mhm.
clarify this, that it was the case where I have to go back a little bit for you to understand or get the big picture of it a little bit. Is that the case that I was, according to the judge, I was unfit, but this was the situation. I got pregnant while I was attending university back in Jamaica, and it's only it's nine of us as children. I'm the only one that ever gone ahead and get an education to that level. So there was a great deal of expectation towards me from my parents and from my siblings and everybody rooting for me. And then, Pops, I got pregnant. When I got pregnant, everybody was so disappointed to the fact that nobody even even talked to me at the time. There was no support at the time. I was left there by myself, and then the child's father just disappeared with a different woman. So that's where we're coming from. Till when I said to him that I need to go back to school. And I remember I asked my mom to help me with my son at the time so that I could go back to university. And my mom said, no, she's not going to help me, because guess what? I was big enough to go there, big enough to get pregnant and the whole works. And, I understand that she grew 9 kids. Understanding now from an adult perspective is that she grew 9 kids. She was a stay-at-home mom. So can you imagine having a kid one year or 2 years apart? And can you
Mhm.
manage the break that comes with it? She don't want to be bothered with grandkids. So yes, I do understand her part. Then I reach out to my child's father and I said, I need help. And he said, okay, fine. At that time, he was away in Cayman, and he came back and he assisted me. Now, remember, the agreement was I'm going back to school, so I would see my son on the weekends and everything. So I remember all of those visits will become shorter, 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 till all of a sudden I couldn't see my son. So I took it upon myself now and I said, no, I have to take this to the court system. Yes, the court system failed me because I went there to get a chance to be a mother, get a chance to have 50-50 custody, whereas there is no negotiation when it's time for me to see my son. That's what I wanted. But at the time, he gave the judge a runaround. He gave the judge stories upon stories upon stories. And I stood in that courthouse and saw and witness my mother would snatch away from me. So that's just to give you a picture around what has happened or what transpired.
Okay. So in your system, in that system, because that's also some cultural differences from America as well.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
in that system, it sounds like there wasn't a lot of support for you.
No, there wasn't. No, not at all. Not even from my parents, my siblings. No one actually. I was just left there to fight for myself.
Okay. And
And
how long? Mhm.
And I remember at one point, my mom says to me, when I told her about the situation, she said to me, "Don't worry yourself, like the typical Caribbean people, don't worry yourself. It's okay. He's growing. Just give him some time and just move on to what you have to move on to." I said, "No, I'm not going to move on. I'm going to fight for my son." So I continued to fight for him. I continued to show up. I continued to at times I will even use money to bribe his father in order to talk to my son. So that's the extent, the love, the passion that you will have for your child, that you will always show up no matter what. You will always show up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what someone asked. What did you do to show up? So it sounds like you had no support or little
Yes.
to none, and that you were still like battling this big deal. Because sometimes, like for us here in America, when our children is in our well, they're going through a system, because
Yes.
that's what we have. We have DHS or CPS, whichever is in your area,
Yeah.
and they're mandated by federal law to only have 3 years for that process before that child gets full custody of someone. So that's the first thing. So,
Yes.
if the parent can't get it together, they try to give them like 18 months. But if they can't get it together, that means that child goes uh, into being able to be adopted by someone else. But they also, when they do it, they do give offer a lot of support.
Mm.
They offer the counseling, the parenting. They offer kind of like they try to surround the parents. And then some states, what we have where like the women are they're called women states, meaning that
Mhm.
a lot of times the judge, unless the mama is absolutely a mother that is not able to care for that child or herself, then that state usually honors the mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's totally different in Jamaica, actually.
That's what I'm hearing from you. That's why I'm like, yeah, because most of our states are what we call women's states. So they usually, will honor the mom as long as the mom can prove that, there's no other issues.
Yes.
They usually support the mom. Um, so I guess the next thing is, what were some of the, because I understand now you're here in America. Where's your
Yes.
son at now?
My son, oh, actually, my son, since I'm here, as I said, I've been here over 10 years. So I have filed for my son, and he has joined me here. And I must say that it has been a journey, because remember when I left my son, he was 5 years old. So I have to relearn, and I have to reach him where he's at, and where he's at is the young adult stage. So I have to recondition myself to treat him like a young adult. So navigating that path now, a lot of challenges do come with that as well. But my son is here. He just went over to Japan um to be in the Navy. He's in the Navy here, so he serves in the Navy.
Wow.
He just deployed to Japan recently in the radiology. So he did radiology, so he's back there in Japan now.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, he's a pretty good guy, isn't he?
Oh yes, to be
He's
honest,
pretty responsible. I don't.
to be honest, I push him so hard. I push him because
Mhm.
I grew up, I walked barefooted to school, and I didn't have it. We grew up very, very poor, and there was no opportunity. And for me to sacrifice so much while I was here, I've been through quite a bit. And I made so many sacrifices for him. So I tend to push him. I tend to push him and tell him that he needs to stand out. He needs to have that same fighting spirit that I have. So,
Mhm.
oh yes, so he's doing good for himself, and I'm so proud of him, actually.
Okay. Now, so and tell me this: did you have any more children, or?
Yes, so I do have a 5-year-old, and
Okay.
that's a huge gap. So I'm a parent, a young, not young. I'm not that young, but I have to relearn everything all over again because my son is almost 21, so that's a huge gap. So yes, I do have a daughter, and all the mistakes that I made with my son, I promised myself that I will never ever make that mistake again. And God has given me a second chance of proving myself, and
Mhm.
I must say that it has been going great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I like that. I like that.
Did you ask me a question? I'm sorry. I did.
No, no. I was just saying I like that. I like that everything is coming together. So now tell us the name of the book again.
My book is called, it's right here. It Will Be Long, but Not Forever. And my name, if you're looking for that book on Amazon, it's you can type in my name on screen, Fiona Salmon, or by the title of the book, It Will Be Long But Not Forever. Also, my t-shirts are also available on on Amazon as well. It will be long but not forever. And my t-shirts are like motivational t-shirts, and trust me, everywhere that I wear this t-shirt, people stop me whether I'm in the airport and they're asking me, what's going on with this title. So it's a statement piece for sure.
Okay. And how did you come to that? I'm kind of getting an idea of how, but if you share it with us.
You mean the t-shirt or the title of the
The
book?
title, the title.
I'm happy that you asked me about the title. My sister who passed away, God bless her soul, by HIV years ago, and she always said to me that I see myself in you, and everything that um, I couldn't have achieved then, I want you to achieve it for us. And every time that I would go to her with a issue or a challenge, and she would always said, Fiona, girl, it will be long, but not forever. So this title came from my sister who passed away years ago. And in honor of her, I named the book It Will Be Long, but Not Forever.
Oh,
That no matter what you're going through in life, no matter if you're labeled as an unfit mother, whether you're labeled as unstable, whatever the issue is, you know, no matter if you're working at something, you're working to get that job, you're working to get your health in order, everything, it will be long, but it won't be forever. There's a good lining at the end, I must say.
okay. And I like that. I like that. And I really like the fact that you were honest about her diagnosis, what
Yes.
she succumbed to, because a lot of people need to hear that as well. So I really I admire that. I admire your honesty.
Yes, I know that HIV is AIDS in my days. You couldn't even mention it. I remember when she found out that she had HIV. She was, the only case back then in my community. So people would want to see what she looks like. Just want to see. And I think my sister died so fast. She went down so fast because of the label, the stigma surround HIV. And even when she was in the hospital, people would just want to just come to see her. It was like a taboo thing back then. And I'm not, I mean, it takes me some time. It takes courage. It takes vulnerability. It takes maturity to talk about it, to share it with others that it do happen. And it did affect me very, I mean, negatively. Like during that time in college, I just started. For that semester, I failed all my courses because I was so bothered by the fact that my sister she, she had AIDS.
Oh no.
And it was hard. It was really, really hard for our family at that time. But we pulled through. And as I said, my sister is always with me in this book.
Mhm.
And even when I wear this t-shirt, I still even have a dress that I have from years ago, 20 or 20 more years ago from my sister. And that will always be with me. And I want to tell people out there that check in with each other. Um, be there, support. The support is very, very important. And as I said, my sister, she didn't get the support that she wanted. And that's why she went down very, very fast.
Yeah, yeah. And well, so with us, our, because I can tell you for us, for our culture, we don't talk about it
Yeah.
either. So,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's been a long time because it's been on the scene since the 70s. But we really are, it's taboo for us to talk about. And
That's
it's
right.
taboo a lot of times for us to even admit that our family or anybody has it in our family. So it's very a very taboo topic. As a matter of fact, it's so taboo that when a person in our community gets sick, they may say they had cancer.
That's what my sister, um, that's what my sister, for a little bit, I had to lie for my sister because, she was
Yeah,
shedding the weight and everyone was wondering what happened. So, because my family is very diabetic, I would say that she has diabetes and we have to go see specialists in a different part of the town or a different part of the island.
yeah,
So yeah, so we had to cover it up a little bit with stuff like being diabetic or cancer. So but
yeah.
I'm not afraid of talking about it, and that's my past, and it is a part of my past, and
Yeah,
it has pushed me forward.
yeah. And like anything else that happens, it doesn't mean a person was a bad person.
That's
That
right.
just means that that person got a certain disease or
Mhm.
even a diagnosis, like you said, like diabetes, cancer. It doesn't have it's I think we stigmatize it,
That's
and
right.
when it's really not that. People are human, and
Mm,
so that's where that comes from. But and I think if we take the stigma away, I think it would help more people.
that's right. That's right.
And
Yeah. I agree with you. I think that every case is different, and there's a title in my book that says being poor is a crime. And sometimes being poor, it causes you to make wrong decisions because you're in search of maybe a father figure. You're in search of that person to look up to, so it allows you sometimes to make poor decisions. And
yeah.
yes, so a lot of things can happen.
And so, and because here in America, there's actually all economics that are have been open to HIV and AIDS, including our. It started off with our gay population, but
Mm-hmm.
now, honest to say, they say it's more African American women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it is definitely a conversation to have. And I'm gonna be honest. I used to work in a like supportive living for people with HIV and AIDS. When I graduated from school, that was my desire. So I'm gonna back the train up for you, and I'm gonna tell you,
Yes.
I'm gonna tell everybody a little bit about me. So I was a teenage mother. I
Oh
was a
wow.
teenage mother. So also as a teenage mother, you're shunned.
Mm-hmm.
When I
Mm-hmm.
got pregnant, I was put out of school. I had to go homeschool because they didn't want you in the school with the other children. Um, so
Wow.
while I was being homeschooled, I had two friends, and they were gay, but they would come check on me.
Mm.
So they began to be my best friends because they didn't judge me. They didn't oust me out. They
Mm.
didn't do any of those things while I was going through that part of my life. They were right there for me. They would come and take me for walks. They
Wow.
Yeah, they would keep me entertained actually. So And so that is a little bit about me. And so when I did graduate with my bachelor's, my first place or my first deal was to go back to that community and help individuals with HIV and AIDS. And
Oh,
so then it was the Ryan White Project, which is still going and being funded by our government.
oh, that's
Ryan White was a little boy who had AIDS in Indiana,
oh,
and people treated him really ugly.
mm.
He got it through a blood transfusion.
Oh,
And they
wow.
were, yeah, they treated the family very bad. But
Mm.
that's now a project or a fund that we have that people get grants and work. So that was my first job. And I can remember, as we talking about mothers, I can remember a mom, and she had succumbed to the disease, and my I could hear the children as they came and got her stuff, and I could hear them wailing and crying,
Oh, wow.
and my heart was so broke for them
Mm.
as they were weeping. So, uh, and I think as mothers, we carry so much,
That's true. That's true.
so much.
You're absolutely correct. My sister who passed away from HIV, she had two children, a boy and a girl. And the first one, he's actually deaf and dumb. So, um, it's the same thing that we're trying to educate him on as well, HIV and all of that. Um, his her daughter, she recently had a daughter as well, so she was a mother as well. And can you imagine how much they really miss their mom?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And the pain of the stigma, right?
yes,
Because
definitely.
again, as you go, the idea is, as you explained to us, missing your son and going through that process of having the father kind of play cards a little bit dirty and take
Yes,
the baby
yes,
from you, um and take him, kind of try to take him out your life. Well, that's
yes,
with everything, if we know that we're not on an island by ourselves and we have support, it makes it easier.
that's
And if
right.
we can, yeah, and if we can identify the support we
Mhm.
need, it makes it more easier. If it's, mental health, if it's substance abuse,
That's
if it's
right.
HIV, if it's AIDS, whatever it is, it just makes you feel a little bit better by saying, hey, I've
Mm.
walked in your shoes, or I know what you're talking about.
That's right.
And so that makes it easier when you can be honest about it, and when you don't have to hide behind it or hide about it, because when you're hiding behind things, you're always keeping that secret within your.
Mm. That's so true. That's
Yeah.
so true, and that will weigh you down a whole lot.
Yeah.
So,
That part. You always keep it you're keeping that secret to yourself.
yeah, I
And
mean that can be a heavy weight to
right,
carry.
it
So
is. It is.
yeah,
So when you can talk about it and identify with other people that have been through that process, where the family, because like you said, family go through it too. You're
that's
not That person is not the only person that's going through that. That family is also, actually, I always say it's seven people out here that really love that person.
mm,
That really would go looking for that person if something happens to them. It's at least seven.
yes, that's true.
And so that's how many we represent. Some of us have more, but we got basically almost seven that will come and say, what happened to Fiona? Where's she at?
Mhm,
Where's
mhm.
Roberta at? What happened to her? And would be concerned. So, the people who are concerned.
That's true. That's true. But in the Caribbean, it's so hard. I think, well, they're still in the third world, country. But
Mhm.
it's moving along, I must say. It's moving along. But in terms of support and the culture, and certain things are just unspoken, you know. So
Yeah.
it's so hard sometimes even to step out and really be vulnerable to someone and says, "Oh well, my sister has HIV. It's just like you have to process everything yourself, because in my culture, um, so if you try to get counseling, or maybe try to get even therapy or whatever, they say that you're crazy. That's my culture.
Okay.
So it's just now that they're drifting away from that idea to say it's okay to say that you're not okay.
That's right. That's right. And we say that on here all the time.
Yes,
Definitely okay to say you're not okay.
that
You know,
that's
because a
right.
lot of times people say, "How are you doing?" We say, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm all
Yes,
right." No, it's okay to say I'm not. I'm not good
yes,
today.
yes.
Because you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not doing well. You're not feeling well. Then you're canceling out your own feelings. You know, that's why when we started, I always say, "Well, let's check in. Let's see where we're at today."
That's right.
Um, and I like that you talked about cultures because a lot of people don't, and we got a lot of expats coming out of America and moving to all these different countries, and they have not a clue
Mm-hmm.
of
True.
some of the systems, or I say the values and morals that are in those areas of the world. Although, you know, we all look alike and we
Mm-hmm.
all could share some of the joy of the music and the food and being on these islands, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it would add to our lives. I believe it would add years to my life to you know, be an expat. But the truth is we don't realize that there's, like you said, there's so much judgment still. You know, I have a family, like family, um, where my aunt married a Bahamian, and so you know, they have a brother, and that brother has some mental health issues. They don't talk about that brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's almost canceled all the way out. They may speak of him, but you don't ever, I mean, it's probably I probably knew him 15 years to even know he this brother existed.
Oh wow, that's
Right.
crazy.
Right, because he basically has some mental health issues. They
Mm.
believe someone put a spell on him.
Mm.
um and yeah, yeah, all of that. I can see your face like, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it might be true. I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's that's their, you know, that culture versus our culture. Because even if we have you coming out of jail, you know, here in America, we're gonna have a party. He getting out of jail, right? In certain cultures like Bahamas, I don't know about Jamaica, but I know Bahamas, it's really, it's a taboo deal. They're not going to have a party for you. They don't even want people to even know you almost even exist. You know,
That's so true. Yes, it
at
is the same culture. It is the same
right,
culture.
right.
Yes.
So at that time, they're really just allowing you still to be in that family because they don't want people
Mm.
to be identified, you know, with you. So yeah, it is a different, it's a different culture. Because and when I'm watching all these videos like in Ghana and in South Africa and all of these places, and then I was talking to a friend that's in Ghana, and because I watched one where the lady was like, she had on some, that she was going to be leaving South Africa because she had on like some Daisy Dukes. You know, I'm down in Texas. So those are like the shorts that show your butt, and they're jean shorts. And which you come down here, that's what everybody got on. I'm just going to tell you. But but you know, she was saying she was going to be leaving South Africa because people, she wore that out and people really did not like it. They were like,
They look down on her.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And then so my friend from Ghana, he was like, "Well, why would she have her butt out if everybody here got butts too?" I was like, "I don't know. You know, she maybe nobody has thought about it." And then I seen another lady that was really neat. Uh, but she smoked cigarettes, and she was coming back from Ghana as I expect, but she was upset because she said she didn't like it, and she was coming back to Atlanta, but she was smoking a cigarette. That's a shame in their country for a woman to be smoking a cigarette. So I was like, I can only imagine if she asked for a drink with that cigarette.
Oh Lord. No. Tell her to leave immediately.
Well, at that point, I knew why that mother was gonna be heading back to America. So it's big differences. Um, Before we leave out, we've talked for about 40. Well, we got 48. So we've talked a while. It's been really good. I think we could probably talk forever. Um, but before we go out, let's talk about some things, some characteristics of a mother.
Oh Lord. Um, Characteristics. The first thing. A mother should always be a good mother would be that mother who is very nurturing, caring, loving, will go the extra mile. I can remember, I always have stories. I can remember my mom remembers nine of us. And when she goes out to the supermarket and when she's coming back, we have like a pastry that is called patties. It has like beef on the inside. And when my mom purchased just one, remember she has money just to purchase one,
Hmm.
and she would take it home. She would not eat that one patty. She would take it home and she will cut it in nine pieces. And when she cut it in nine pieces, she end up don't even taste the crumbs of that patty. The
Oh,
sacrifice as a mother, that's a genuine sacrifice that you
yes, it is.
prefer to see your kids flourish and for you to just sit back and you make that sacrifice just to see that they're having life a little bit easy. So just saying that to say that about my mom. As parents, we have to make sacrifices. We have to love unconditional. Sometimes, as they grow up, there are
Hmm.
things that they will talk about that you necessarily don't want to hear and you want to correct immediately, but you have to remember that you need to be still and you have to listen. Listening is very, very important as they grow. Even when they are small kids, you have to give them your undivided attention. Like there is no one else in the room and you just want to listen to them. And even when the stories are boring, you're bringing life to it by the eyes, really. You want to hear more. You want them to know that they're seen. They're they
Yeah,
heard, you heard them, so
yeah,
giving them attention is very, very important. And as they grow, whether they're in the teenage years, you have to alter. As you go along, you have to grow with them as they go along. You have to be with them at every step. You have to cry with them. Eh, They might be having a bad day. Somebody might maybe do something wrong to them at school and
yeah,
they came home and they're crying out. You have to cry with them. You have to laugh with them. You have to be their friend. First of all, you be a mother first. You're going to be a friend. You're going to be a listener. You're going to be everything that you possible want to be to them so that the world don't teach them, the world don't absorb them, and then they spit them out because guess what? You prepared them for the world. The world don't
yeah.
prepare them.
That's right. That's right. I like that. I like that. I think so.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
I,
I used
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just thinking. I used to tell my children that, you know, I may do okay, but it's your job to do better. I'm gonna do okay. I'm okay, but your job to do better.
Mm,
And then as I've gotten older, I've realized that as a mother, a good mother, I have to be patient.
yes, yes.
So and aware of where their emotions and feelings are, because everything is perception and everything is relationship, and so they may not be seeing or feeling
Mm-hmm.
the way I see, because I'm
Yes.
feeling and seeing out of experience. They're just it's just now happening to them. So I
Mm.
have to always fall back and take that
Mm.
into consideration.
Yes.
I'm going from experience. They're going from being in the middle of it and
In the
going
moment,
through.
yes.
Yeah,
You're,
yeah,
you're absolutely correct. And there are times when they're going to say things that you really want to comment on, but you
yeah,
have to tell yourself that no, it's not the time or the place to
yeah,
really comment. And there are things that they will do that you'll be like, oh my God, did he really do that? You want to correct immediately, but you just have to find the right time. You have to rest back. You have to be still
yeah.
and just swallow and go along again and wait on that right time to
That's correct.
interject.
That's correct. Yeah, yeah. And I think that makes a good mother. A good
Yes.
mother. Being patient, I I raised five, but what I always do, I always pray. I pray about my children, and then even if they're going through something, I don't accept it. I
Mm.
just continue to ask God to help them with it.
Mm.
I always like, no, that's not what you birthed them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so I'm praying that you correct that you hear my
Mm.
prayer on behalf of my
Mm.
children. So I think
That's
that,
that's so true. That's a good thing that you do. You pray, and as you said, a praying mother. Trust me, that can go a far way, and take them heights. But sometimes you have to allow them to make their mistakes in order for them to learn, because you're not always going to be there with them when they're among their friends and the peer pressure that comes with it. They're
yeah,
going to remember what mommy says. They're going to remember, but you're not going to be in that moment to say, don't do that. No, don't. So
yeah,
you have to allow them to make mistakes. I know it's hard sometimes, especially for me. Sometimes it's hard for me to see my son making a mistake after I've told him and I realized that he's heading down that path. I said, okay, that's a very expensive mistake coming.
yeah,
I wish if I want to tell him, but I said, no, how is he gonna learn and develop his own experience, his own maturity? He has to grow as a man. And I'm preparing him not for himself, but for the world, that when he goes out there, he can stand tall and make his own decisions wisely and independently.
yes. I agree. I agree. It's a big
Yeah,
job. It's a big
it,
job.
it
You know,
is.
the truth behind mothers, I seen a reel where they were like, stop celebrating Mother's Day. Well,
Mhm.
really, you can stop, but you should celebrate every day
That's
because
true.
basically, without your mother, you wouldn't be here,
No, definitely not.
you know,
Definitely not.
because all fathers don't come and get their children. They just don't. Some fathers, before the child even get here, will run out
That's right.
and keep
That's right.
running.
That's right.
But mama will stick it through, even
Oh,
if
yes.
it caused some problems, even if she was jousted from society or if
Oh,
people
yes.
have counted her out, mama will still stick by you.
That's right. That's right. I definitely agree with you that motherhood doesn't stop. Even when they're grown kids, you're still being a mother same way, because they come to you now with adult issues.
Yeah,
Oh, can you advise me this girl this, or what do you think I need to do, or do you think I need to buy a car right now? Who you think that they're turning to? Sometimes not the girlfriends, or sometimes not the wives. There are certain things that they can't talk to the wives about, that you become a mother all over again and you'll be like, I thought that you were grown. Like, so mother would continue on and on and on until that day comes.
yeah,
So you're always a mother.
You are. You're always a mother. Mothers never. That's why I said if you wanted to quit celebrating Mother's Day, which is coming up, you should
Yes,
celebrate every day
that's right.
because that person gave up a whole lot, and if you count as many mothers who have died giving birth,
Mm.
so then not only Jesus gave up his life for you, but your
Mm-hmm.
mother was willing to also
Mm.
do that.
Oh Lord, have mercy. As you mentioned that, I have a friend of mine who who was on the transplant list for years,
Mhm.
and he said that he got a kidney from a young mother who died during child's birth.
Yes, yes.
And as you mentioned, that the sacrifice, and even though she was dying, she still wanted to give life to someone else. So that's being selfless of that mother. But God bless her soul. And yes, my friend is still alive. He got that kidney transplant from that young mother.
Yeah. Yes, this is true. I'm in Texas. We have more mortalities of birth here, a
Yes.
mother and the child, the babies, infants. But yeah, it's a very fragile thing, and
Yeah.
people we take it for granted because it goes good for us. But some people they don't. So that is the sacrifice that mothers have made. They
That's
made a
true.
sacrifice to try to eat the right thing, trying to get you
Mhm.
all the way to that 9 months where you grew inside
Mhm.
of them.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So yeah, so we and like I said, we talk about Jesus gave his life, but your mom really she sacrifices a lot.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. Definitely she did. She
Yeah.
did. I'm grateful to be alive. And oftentimes people might ask you, just to go back to what you said, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm doing wonderful today." And people might just ask, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm giving God thanks for the small mercies. I always try to give God thanks for the small mercies. I'm not 100%. I'm giving
Right,
thanks for the small mercy. And the small mercy is just having life, basically.
right. Just being here. Just being
Just
here.
being here.
Well, it was very pleasant having you tonight. Our
Thank
time
you.
went very fast. I know you was like, how long is it gonna be? But it went so fast. Uh, so I enjoyed the chat with you. I'm so glad that you came and celebrated Mother's Day with me.
Thank you so
You
much for
know,
having me. Thank you. I appreciate the
and
invite.
you're welcome. And to all of the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your time. Actually, enjoy every day because guess what? You deserve it. You really do.
That's That's right. Hopefully, to have you on my program one day on my podcast. It's
Okay.
called Motivational Mondays. It's every first and third Mondays on stream on YouTube and also on Facebook simultaneously. And on my YouTube, it's Fiona and Friends. So head on over and follow me as well and be a part of my discussions. There are epic topics and guests, interesting guests. So come on over and share with us.
All right. And like and follow us as well. I'm
Definitely.
hoping that Jackie will be back here soon. Um, and that is it. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much. Have a great one. Bye.